Revenge of the Sith is the best prequel film by far. And honestly, it would be the best Star Wars film if only the writing was just a little bit more better, and that's just my opinion. But this movie is where everything falls into place. The tragic fall of Anakin, the triumph of Sidious, and the end of the Clone Wars. We all know how it ends, and yet we can't look away. However, this scene between Anakin and Yoda stood out to me while rewatching Revenge of the Sith.
The fear of loss is a path to the dark side. Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is.
What must I do, Master Yoda?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
It touches on one of the main themes of the film, the fear of loss. You know, the thing that drove Anakin to the dark side. So I thought I would examine it a bit closer. Before the start of the scene, Anakin and Padme have a bit of an issue. They can't hide their pregnancy much longer. She's in danger of losing her ascendancy, and Anakin would 100% be expelled from the Jedi if they find out about their relationship. What's weighing on Anakin's mind more than anything, though, are his dreams.
It was a dream.
Bad?
Like the ones I used to have about my mother, just before she died.
He decides to go to Yoda, the wisest Jedi Master, for advice. And in my opinion, Yoda gives Anakin some horrendous advice. But before we get to that, let's try to look at it from both perspectives. Anakin didn't really give him any details to work with, so honestly, you can't really blame him for giving a stock Jedi answer. Secondly, Yoda doesn't have a deep connection with Anakin.
You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!
Which means that he can't really grasp the emotional turmoil that he's going through. You know, he might be a Jedi, but he's not like a...
See through you. We can.
I guess they can read minds. Thirdly, you can argue that Anakin was too far gone by this point, so what advice could he give to prevent him from falling to the dark side? Lastly, he had a point here.
Death is a natural part of life.
No one can conquer death, not even the Jedi. Now let's look at it from Anakin's perspective. He has every reason to be afraid because the same thing happened with his mother. Not only did he lose his mother, but he continued to blame himself for her death.
Why'd she have to die? Why couldn't I save her? I know I could have.
You know, for not acting on his Force vision earlier to save her. So it's only logical that he feels like he has to protect Padme from certain death. Secondly, the advice itself is kind of lacking in empathy. Like, what is Anakin supposed to do with this?
Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But why is it still bad advice? Because without knowing it, Yoda is telling Anakin to suppress his emotions. You know, the thing that Jedi are theoretically not supposed to do. It's funny because this is like literally established from like the very beginning. When Anakin is brought in front of the Jedi Council for testing, the Jedi pick up on how much he misses his mother. Instead of empathizing with him, they just say this.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And what makes this even worse is that his mother is still a slave at this point. So of course he'd miss her. They could have probably like eased his mind by buying her freedom later on with the considerable amount of resources that they have, but they didn't do that. Instead, they're just chastising a kid for having feelings. I don't know. It's weird, you know. Look at it this way. Anakin leaves the chamber more confused and like less certain about what he should do. And if you're trying to give somebody some like words of wisdom, that's probably the last thing you would want for the person you're giving advice to.